So, guys, a lot of people are hating on this movie big time. I just went to go see it. What did I think of it? Let us begin. Hey, everybody, this is David, and today I'm going to be talking about Fantastic Four, the new Fantastic Four movie directed by Chronicles Josh Trank, who, if you haven't heard already, there has been a lot of drama with this movie. Seriously, I think the drama for this film has been more entertaining than anything else so far this year. Okay, besides Donald Trump's, election campaign, that's been pretty funny too. But for the most part, this has been an interesting ride coming to this movie. This movie has had a lot of hate, and there was a part of me that was really rooting for this movie, that wanted it to be the underdog, and that wanted it to show people who were hating on it because they wanted the rights to go back to Marvel. And I'm like, why do you want the rights to go back to Marvel? I get it. It would be cool to see the Fantastic Four with the Avengers and all that. But guys, come on. You get more movies this way. But then you start hearing this drama that goes on behind the scenes with the director and the studio and all that. And you see the final product. And what did I think of it? Let's get into it. First of all, let's talk about the cast. I think it's very important to note that this cast is really talented, right? They might not be in their A game in this movie, but they are still good actors. These guys hold their own for what's being thrown at them, and all of them are great. I think, Miles Teller coming up from Whiplash, he's really strong in this movie. I like Kate Mara, although sometimes she seems a little stale once in a while. I don't know if that's the director's fault or what's being given to her. Sometimes she seems like a little stale once in a while. I'll admit that. Jamie Bell is in there, and he's having a good time, I guess, for what he's in, I guess, right? And then when he's turned into the Thing, that's all right. I like that. I thought he was cool as the Thing, even though the CGI at times was a little rocky. See what I did there? I thought you guys would like that. And then we got Michael B. Jordan, who is cool as the Human Torch. Guys, I never had an issue with the race thing. Get over it. He's a good actor, and people do get adopted from time to time. And having Sue be the adopted sister, I'm okay with that. And you guys should too. Get over it. Toby Kebbell is also Doctor Doom, who's good in the beginning, and then something happens to his character, which I blame more on the writing. Again, the actors are fine in this movie. I have no problems with the actors. It's the directing and maybe the writing and maybe the studio, for all I know. The special effects I was actually expecting to be a lot worse. They weren't great or spectacular, but they were all right. But I can see this movie very quickly. The special effects will age really badly as the years go by. The story is all over the place in this movie. At first, the first act was really good. It set up this whole world nicely, set up the characters nicely. We get to see young Reed Richards and young Ben Grimm when they were kids and how they became friends and all that. That was cool. And then when they grew up and they're playing, college or high school graduates or something, that was fine too. I didn't mind all that in the beginning. There were even some funny moments in the beginning throughout. I thought this was going to be like a pure dark film. But it does get darker as the movie continues when they get into the second half of the film, which is right after they go to the dimension for the first time, and they get their powers. Things start to get a little bit interesting here, and it's treated more like a horror film at this point of the film, which is an interesting take. I like that. But then they all of a sudden skip 1 year after just skipping 7 years not too long ago in the movie. We skip another year for no reason, and the movie is frantically trying to find its identity afterwards. It's like they had this cool thing going on with this horror darker feel. I actually like that part. But then when they skip 1 year, it seems like the movie was losing itself. It didn't know what it wanted to be anymore. And there were moments that I was enjoying, but then there were moments that were like, what? That doesn't... No. For an example, I'm going to spoil it a little bit here. There was a part where Reed goes on the run. He becomes like a fugitive sort of thing. And, okay, that was fine, but when they find him and bring him back, it doesn't really go anywhere. There's no, like, real resolution to that plot. There was no purpose of it. And it didn't need to be there. I didn't understand that. A lot of things really start falling apart in the second half of the film. And then the third half of the film, the third act, that's where things really go like, what the hell just happened? They throw this huge ass action piece at you. The movie doesn't have a lot of action. It doesn't hardly basically... Only the ending is action. I'm gonna tell you guys now. There's some like little action pieces, I guess, in the first act and at the end of the first act and somewhere when Reed is on the run. But there's a huge action piece at the end that comes out of nowhere, and you're wondering, what is this? Is this the ending already? And yeah, it is. And I couldn't believe this movie. I enjoyed part of it. I liked what I was seeing in the beginning, but then to see how it all ends and how all the characters, their relationships aren't even developed right, because they start setting up these character traits and these character moments that you think is going to pay off later, but it seems like there was no roadmap in this movie. It seems like they were like leaving things open for maybe a sequel to take care of. Or they had ideas and then they completely forgot about them. And I'm wondering, what just happened? By the end of the movie, I was like a little confused. Like, okay, what about that? Some of that character moments, like, weren't Ben and Richards having like some beef because, you know, Ben, he promised to fix him, and then there's this relationship with Sue and Reed that was in the beginning. This love triangle with Doom also that didn't go anywhere. It was like someone had it's like, how many writers were writing this? But, you know, I did like the tone. I did like a lot of the stuff that they were doing in the beginning. I just didn't like that they threw it all away and didn't resolve it. And that's kind of what the mess of the movie is, and that's kind of what a lot of people are complaining about. I'm not saying it's a horrible film, because I think there's still some stuff to take from it that they were getting right. It's just how it all ends, and that's what that is probably, I think, what's frustrating a lot of people right now. And it's kind of sad, because I was really rooting for this movie. I had a lot of hope for it and all that, and they had a really good cast. I thought they had a good director, but I'm hearing now the studio might have been involved and they might have tangled with whatever the director was doing. There's so much drama on this movie. Someone needs to make a documentary on this, the behind the scenes drama of what happened in Fantastic Four. I think that would be amazing. I think that would probably make more money in the box office than this movie is going to make. And it's kind of sad, because I was kind of hoping for Fox's plan to do that Fantastic Four X-Men crossover, but now I'm not too sure it's going to happen, because I think some people might like this better than the first two Fantastic Fours. If I had to pick, I like this movie more than the first, the tone of it more than the first Fantastic Four films. And I think in the beginning it really had a good start. It's just, like I said, the way it ended. And that's the thing that the other two movies have over this one, is at least they had a plan. At least they knew where they were taking the characters and the story. And unfortunately, you know, this movie was twisted, I guess. So guys, I'm going to give this movie a 6 out of 10. Like I said, I enjoyed the stuff in the beginning. I was enjoying it where it was going at first. It started losing its path in the second half. I mean, in the second act of the film. And then the third act, they just throw in, you know, randomly at the end. And you're like, what? So, Yeah, that's why it loses a lot of points. I wanted to give it a 7, but then thinking more about it, how messed up the story was and how messed up the relationships with the characters were, how none of it was resolved, I have to give it a lower score. I was going to give it a 5, but I did enjoy, like I said, I enjoyed some of the stuff that was going on. The ending was the real pain in the ass. Like, where the fuck did this come from? So, guys, I don't know. Can I recommend this? If you want a good story, no, I can't recommend this. If you're a huge fan of the Fantastic Four, I don't even know if I should recommend this, guys, because this is a bad movie. Unless you really want to see how bad this movie is, then you're gonna go in for a good time. I hope. If you want to have a good experience at a movie and have a thought-provoking film and all that, forget it. Avoid this movie at all costs. I wanted to really love this movie. I liked it, but that's not saying much. So it's your decision, guys. You're on your own on this one, just like I was on my own. I decided to go see it because I wanted to see how bad this movie really was. It wasn't as bad as I thought. Maybe because I've heard so many people talk very negatively about this movie that my expectations were so low. Maybe that's why I enjoyed it a little bit more. Or maybe it's because maybe to me it wasn't that bad. So, I don't know. 6 out of 10. It's not a great score, but it's a decent score. So, until next time, guys, take care.